Good afternoon, Brokers Playbook Nation. Good afternoon to all our esteemed colleagues, our brothers and sisters in the business. Whether you are a mortgage broker, a real estate broker, an insurance broker, for all I care, we all have something very, very, very important in common, and that's our duty and our willingness to serve the community that we live in and to be able to make a living off the service to others and the service to the community. Today, we have a very, very special guest. Of course, my co-host Laura Martin is at my side, and we're going to be speaking to Kaylee Heaps. Kaylee is literally the absolute top broker across the biggest organization in Canadian real estate. She is number one across Royal LePage nationally. She is a champion of her neighborhood. She has an established practice, a multi-generational practice in the heart of the city. And we're going to be trying to go as deep as we can in understanding the mindset of taking the reins of a multi-generational practice, of not only taking what you have, but growing it to be what it is today. And the type of leadership and the type of workload and the type of initiative one must have to be able to do that. Laura, my beautiful co-host, hello. Kaylee Heaps, welcome to Brokers Playbook. What's going on?
Thank you for having me, Simeon. It's an honor to be here with you.
Amazing.
Yeah. It's great to have you here, Cailey. I love to hear about women kicking ass. and to hear that it's been happening generationally, all the better.
Agreed.
So tell me, was it both of your parents or just one that started building the real estate empire?
No, it was, we moved back to Toronto so my dad could start a microbrewery in the mid 80s. And because he was doing a startup, my mom decided that she should find employment so that she could help financially with the household in addition to helping with raise the kids. And she had always been sort of a park bench broker, meaning that she would be the person at the park saying, "Oh, Jane, I know you want a bigger house. I was just talking to Sue and she's looking for a smaller house. Why don't you two have a conversation?" So she decided that she could capitalize on that skill set and got into real estate in the mid 80s. And she was very quickly chairman's club. So she was very quickly in the top 1% of the nation. I believe she got there quickly because she was literally the most genuine, caring person you could ever meet. She never knew how much money she was making. She always just focused on outcomes. And she was very, very committed to the communities where she worked. And then I joined her in the late 90s. So I've been doing it 22 years, which I don't feel like I'm old enough to say that, but it's true.
That's amazing.
And I have 3 brothers, all who have their own businesses, and my dad who had his own business. So everyone in my family, my 6-person family, is an entrepreneur by nature.
Nice.
That's
amazing.
That's so let me ask you to that quickly. Your mother takes this role on. You are a young lady growing up seeing your mother smash records, take market share in arguably one of the most difficult neighborhoods to do so in. People have a really big delusion surrounding luxury real estate, that it's easier or that it's somehow different asset class. And I would like to kind of like really debunk myths around luxury real estate today, from the person who arguably touches it the most in the country. So I do want you to take me through your journey as a young lady watching your mother succeed, and what kind of inspiration and what kind of mindset did that start creating for you to look at this as a career?
Yeah. So, what's interesting is we never really actively spoke about, the strength of being a woman or the limitations of being a woman or anything to do with that. I was raised by strong parents, and I have 3 big brothers, and that forced me to be strong. My grandfather on my mom's side was sort of one of the original feminists. He raised 4 daughters who all went on to great success. He believed in education. I would say the luxury real estate market in Toronto has been, I'm very lucky to have had my mom as a mentor and leader. Neither she nor I grew up in the luxury real estate market. She got there, but she was authentic and she cared. And I think the right people can see that. She never focused on going after that market. It's just where she played. We were renting a house in the area when we came back from Vancouver. It's who she got to know. We eventually bought a semi-detached house in the neighborhood. And yeah, she worked really hard to get her foot in the door. I will say now, so we have very good market share in the luxury segment. Our average price is around 2.5 million for our transactions, and we do about 400 transactions a year, thereabouts. But even now, to this day, getting into the ultra luxury segment of the market, I'm not a kid who went to, boarding school or did my high school and private school or any of those things. And there is still that segment of the market that wants representation from that old school Toronto.
It's gotta be Sotheby's, it's gotta be whatever, yeah.
Sure.
Yeah, and it's funny because I look at that and I think, what's made me successful is I've got grit. I work my ass off for people, and I will always, always work harder. I just know I will. I'm going to invest more time. I'm going to invest more money. I'm going to be more strategic about it. I worked in advertising before real estate. I have a Bachelor of Commerce. It's a business. And for a lot of agents, it's not a business.
I cannot believe how much overlap there is with my mother's success in the same market. So she got into real estate in the late 70s. She's a Jamaican immigrant with very minimal education, and she just pre-studied before she took the real estate course. She was like on the real estate course book for like 3 months so that she was more prepared than everyone else going in. And that's always what she had to do, was be 10 times harder working. And she's extremely ethical and extremely honest. And it's that grit, right? Like that she will, she's like a dog that will not put that bone down. And she really represents her client's interests above any and all else. And it doesn't matter what you look like, or if you came from another province, or if you didn't have a private school education, because people in the luxury market don't want a snake in the grass as an agent, like they can smell that in their day-to-day business as a lawyer, or whatever they're doing on the corporate board of directors. And maybe it's what I'm kind of seeing here is that it's not any different than a person that's a regular person getting something in the $1 million range, right? They want the same things, whether it's a $3 million house or a $1 million house.
I think you're hang on, and people want genuine. So as long as you're genuine and you're authentic, and you have something to offer, I think one thing that agents forget is that people are paying us for advice. So you better know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
There's a lot of people in our industry who are, they might be good sales people. I don't think of myself as a salesperson. I see myself as a professional advisor, and I take that very seriously. And I talk more people into buying houses than I do talk them into buying houses.
Yep.
I think, if we're well compensated for what we do. Yes, I work really hard. And if I worked out my hourly rate, it's probably not all that impressive. But if someone's going to pay me, they better feel value at the end of it and feel like they got every penny worth, and then some, when they're ready to check.
I'm going to go back to a quick comment that you made, that you're going to outwork someone. I literally have probably said that directly, verbatim, 1,000 times in my life.
Yeah.
Because I don't care who you are. I'm going to outwork you.
Yeah.
So I am willing to work harder, longer, stronger, whatever. And it's not competitive. I'm not doing it for competitive to beat someone else.
No,
it's
I compete
for me.
with myself. Yeah, I compete with myself. Yeah, I can't go to bed at night knowing I didn't try my hardest. What's the point?
What is the point? And I don't know if we're right, just to be honest. Like, excuse me. I don't know if we're right in this mindset or not, or is it a sickness, or because when I see people who really don't work that hard in the world, and like they're happy, man. Like these people are happy, man.
A friend of mine just texted me, and like literally when I got on this and said, I'm moving out of Toronto, I can't do it anymore, want to come? And I was like, well, maybe. I don't know. But it's true. I don't know if it's a good thing or a bad thing, but it's who I am. So, and I've learned, you know what, Simeon, I've got to say, I'm learning to back off a bit and share the workload, to delegate.
Yes. So I think maybe because we're in a similar age group as well, we all are. I can say for myself, I turned 40 last year. I'm turning 41 in a week. And it's just funny because like just qualifying for a vaccine reminded me of something. Yeah. And then I was speaking to my partner who just hired an assistant, and I thought his assistant was like 25 or 27, but the young lady's 19, and I was like, "What the like 19? I'm 40. This person was born in 1999 or 2001, whatever it is. Like
you're literally old enough to be her father.
That's what I mean. So
Yeah.
it's like it doesn't seem real because life has been such a blur because of working hard, working fast, raising kids, in everything that comes with it. I do feel life is just flashing by. And I think like literally one of the biggest reasons for this very podcast is because I wanted to identify people not like me, but people with their characteristics. When I first met Laura, I was so impressed by how much common ground we had. And we had literally met for a week. Like we spoke on LinkedIn. We met on LinkedIn.
Wow. Cool.
And this is like literally a year ago. This is the last episode of season 1 or the first episode of season 2. So like I'm speaking to our back end people on where to go from here. But like this is literally a gift from all of us, not for me, but like you're the one who's going to make this resonate with someone.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Laura is going to resonate with someone. I'm going to ask you questions just like I asked you about, how did you look at your mom? And you said, well, there was no limitations. I come from a strong family. Well, so do I.
Yeah.
But not everyone did.
Mm-hmm.
The reason these problems exist in the world is because more people grew up in not strong homes than they did in strong homes.
Yeah.
Agreed.
Limiting beliefs.
So with that being said, everywhere we go from here, from technique to pivoting during crisis to all the things that I want to cover today, because these are things that happened. I don't anticipate next year you're going to be in 10th place. I do expect you to be in first place. I do.
I better be, Simeon, or I am leaving Toronto.
So there you go. So there you go. So what I'm getting at is
I'm teasing you, but yeah.
But so do I. Like I'm thinking the exact same way. I'm looking to take it all down.
Yeah.
And Laura is looking to take it all down. So what have we done that we can give to every single brother and sister out there that wasn't able to, or that is trying to figure it out? How can we give them not a shortcut, because it's the worst word of all time, but how can we put them in the right direction on looking at the world from our lens, or your lens in this case, Kaylee?
Yeah, I mean, it's taken me a long time to get to where I am. Listen, I've worked hard. We've all worked hard, and I've had some luck too, without question. I do recognize that, to work in the market I work in, I look at someone like JB out east, and he's got to do like 5,000 more units than I do. So I get it, like I do recognize there's been some good fortune there. I think what I've learned, one of my very good friends, who's actually a realtor, said to me, we were at a conference in Dallas, I don't know, 3 or 4 years ago when we were still allowed to travel. And someone was really unkind to me after I'd spoken on stage, and I was upset. And he said, you know what, this isn't about you. This has nothing to do with you. This is about them. And honest to God.
This is about what?
This is about them.
Projection.
Yeah.
Projecting.
And it totally changed my life. Because I had spent my life being a pleaser and trying to make everyone else happy. And I swear, I still have to get him the t-shirt that says this, because we talk about it all the time. He doesn't even remember it. For him, it was meaningless, but for me, it was like very meaningful. And I think that's one of the biggest takeaways and changes in my life was, you know what? I know that I'm working my best and doing my best. And if people want to judge me or say things about me, that's on them. So I no longer pay attention to the noise. Like I don't look left, I don't look right. It's all about positive forward momentum. Where do I want to go and how do I want to get there? And if people are going to try and stand in my way, that's on them. So I think that's my biggest takeaway. And for people getting into the business who are perhaps stuck in the business, don't worry about what your competition's doing. You're not going to be your competition. They're not going to be you. Even if you hand them every piece of material that you've ever created for your business, they're not going to deliver it the same way.
No.
So I think just let go of that pressure and that noise and be you, do what you do well, you do you, let them do them, and it will all come together.
Do you find that most realtors, and I can't speak about mortgage brokers, and Laura, you can pipe into this, maybe it's the same. Do you find that most brokers don't look at their business as a business?
Agreed.
They look at it as a job.
Yeah.
And I think even if it doesn't matter how much you make, whether you're making 50 grand a year, 200 grand a year, or 2 million a year, if I woke up tomorrow morning and I looked at my day like a job, I think I would quit within 2 hours.
Yeah.
Because
Well,
I would have no ownership of it.
Yeah. And I think, I can say that I genuinely love what I do. There are days that are hard, but for the most part, I'm excited to get to work. I'm excited to see my team members. I'm excited to interact with my clients. Most of it, yes, it's hard and it takes a commitment, but it doesn't feel, I think where people have unhappiness in their life is where you're trying to fit a square peg in a round hole, where it doesn't feel authentic or it doesn't feel natural. This feels very natural to me. I don't feel like I'm out of my depths doing what I do.
But do you, when you make calls, do you feel like you're making calls, or do you feel like you're connecting with people? Honestly.
So I don't make calls. Like I'm
Whatever.
not new prospects or
any duty, any duty when you have to get back to someone.
Yeah, that's my point. Is like I don't view it that way. I like people. So when I'm connecting with people, I'm connecting with people. I've never once said to someone, will you please work with me? Like that's not.
Yeah.
If you want to work with me, you're going to work with me. And if you don't want to work with me, then that's fine. You're not meant to work with me.
Laura, is it the same? Like, is what I'm saying resonating with you? Is it kind of the same in the mortgage 100%. World? Is it?
Okay. I mean, like I myself have had the same position as a mortgage broker. And I've been a mortgage broker, as an assistant for someone else. And I've been a mortgage broker working on my own. And I've been a mortgage broker and COO of Matrix Mortgage. And, I can say that I felt very differently in each of those different positions. And it was a direct relation to how much autonomy I had in that position. Right. So I worked under the best circumstances. I call all of the shots. I decide what I'm going to do that day and how I'm going to do it. And I collaborate with others on making that happen. In the worst case scenario, when I'm most disempowered, I'm probably getting paid some sort of salary and I'm expected to work in a certain place during certain times and do very specific tasks. And I think that for most people, that's not going to work, right? Like you really need to set your own targets, your own systems, your own timeframes of doing things. And when you do that, then you're setting yourself up to be, you're a real business then, right? Like you're calling the shots. But if you're waiting to take orders, then
but is it so? This goes part and parcel with growing a team, though. So this is a very natural evolution of this conversation. I'm going to go back to both of you. Because I know Laura, as COO of Matrix, you do a lot of training, you do a lot of recruiting, and you do a lot of growth related activity, which definitely has a lot to do with depth of the existing team and width of meaning the size of the team, but improving the performance of existing. Yes.
Like feeling more like a leader than a doer, right? Like I don't want to do it anymore. I do some of it. Like I take the parts of the job that I like and continue doing those things. But as with real estate, there's so many parts of the job description, right? There's document collection and analysis and, talking to different parties, and not all of those are your strengths. So what anyone should do is triple down on your strengths and delegate the rest.
Kaylee, where are you at on that?
Yeah, no, I agree. I mean, I think part of being an effective team leader and part of being a happy person is trying to figure out the strengths, your own strengths and the strengths of the people around you, and play to people's strengths. So we move people around in the organization all the time when we realize they're not in the right roles.
Yeah.
We all have weaknesses. Like there's nothing wrong with having a weakness. You just don't want it to be the primary responsibility of your job. So I think, figuring out strengths is important. I think, one of the things I'm working on right now, and I haven't nailed it, so I'll have to come back to you the next time we talk on here, but is figuring out how to build a business where the team, I have a very committed team who I adore, but how they feel invested in the growth of the business. And I think it probably means being part of our strategy sessions and having more conversations. But we've grown, you know, I was a 5-person team like less than 10 years ago, and we're now 30. So we've grown pretty quickly. And we just have to catch back. I have to go back to the basic founding principles of the company and bring some of those forward to today.
I have a question actually.
It's so interesting. Go ahead, Laura.
I was reading a really great book by Peter Thiel. He is the founder of PayPal, and he wrote a book called 0 to 1, and it's like basically the secret sauce to super successful like 10x startups or whatever. And so what he says is like a company culture, like a company doesn't have a culture. A company is a culture.
Yeah.
And
I
the
agree.
most successful companies in the world started with a group of, let's say, 5 people that loved working with each other.
Yeah.
And like, then it doesn't feel like work, right? It doesn't feel like, you know, okay, you know, I have a work relationship with you and then I don't call you when I don't need you for something, right?
Yeah.
Versus I can't get off the phone with you because I just want to keep talking to you because you're my friend. So to that end, Cailey, the new team members that you've amassed over the last 10 years, have they been people that like know someone that exists in the company already?
Generally
Most
speaking,
of the time?
Yeah, generally speaking, it's someone who's
Organic growth
or past client or friend, or, you know, we have some link in. I think the challenge, maybe I'm being perhaps a bit overly sensitive to it right now because of COVID. We're not physically together, and I'm really feeling that lack of togetherness. That we're used to being in the same building all the time, and we're not allowed to be right now. So I might be overemphasizing it a bit, but I have a group of people here.
But you're not, because that's what you're feeling.
Yeah,
and I'll tell you that it rips me apart the same way because I'm a social motherfucker.
I know
Like,
I know that.
Human interaction, and it's
Yeah.
making me sick. So I
more
do
humans.
feel it. Don't think you're overreacting because it's true. And the reason people are with you is because they want to be with you.
Well, what's interesting is during the pandemic, I've lost more sales reps than I've ever lost. I historically haven't really lost sales team members, but I think people are reevaluating their priorities. People are, you know, fair play. I don't want someone to feel like they've got to stay here. I want someone to choose to be here. So I'm looking forward to getting the team back together. We used to be very social, you know, like drinks at my house all the time and meetings every week and all those things. But yes, to your point, Laura, they're generally speaking, we are tied to each other in ways outside of just the business.
Yeah.
And I think, you know, it was another agent. It might have actually even been Mark Ferris, who was previously in this position with Roy LePage, who said, when you're hiring someone, think about if you had to get in a car with them and drive to Montreal, would you be wanting to get out partway through the trip? So when I interview people now, I really think about that.
The 5-hour together test. I like it.
I know, right? It's a good one. And I don't know that I formally thanked Mark for that. So I'll reach out and thank him. But I think it's a really valid point. Like if someone's going to grate on you after 30 minutes, you sure as hell don't want to work with them. So
no. Yeah, I'm just in myself. In my
the drive to Montreal.
I'm trying to figure out, like, I feel like I'm overthinking this, but I'm trying to figure out, because it's the age-old question. Like, I want to build the best, baddest corporate culture team imaginable. And so what questions do you ask in an interview to get to this, right? And I feel like there's so many aspects. Like, are you a problem person or a solutions person? Like, are you agreeable or disagreeable? It's good to be disagreeable at times, but you might also really rub me the wrong way if everything I say is called into question. And so like, I almost want to get people to do these 5-hour personality tests or something, or is it a gut thing?
We do DISC personality for anyone we hire prior to hiring them, a DISC assessment.
Really?
Yeah. And
good.
it's
okay, I'm not crazy.
Yeah, I know. It's like a 4-page document that tells you about people's authentic self.
What's it called?
A DISC assessment, DISC.
DISC.
Yeah. Okay. And we pay a third-party company to do that.
Sorry, Laura, you've never heard of this?
No, there's so many different ones.
No, but this one's like so popular. So the world, I only heard about it last year when not 2 years ago, sorry, in Portugal,
Oh yeah.
is when I first heard about it. And I
No,
was
that was
in,
last year, dude. It feels like a lifetime ago, but that was a
yeah,
year ago.
fuck, sorry, last year. But like, yeah. So, but I can't believe you're such a reader and such a personality person, Laura. I totally would have thought you would have known about this. Okay, Kaylee, tell us all about it then.
Tell me more.
Yeah, so DISC assessment. So it will tell you people's true self. So it will tell you their public image, like who they present as, and then who they genuinely are. They'll tell you which type of management style they respond to. They'll tell you, are they confrontational? Are they submissive? Do they need a lot of positive reinforcement? It's like a guide to how to interact with people. I will say that it is a helpful tool. But on top of that, going back to you said, is it gut instinct? Often it's just gut instinct for me anyway. And I don't ask people, are you confrontational? I'll say to people, what are your strengths? What are your weaknesses? And we all have them. I will say to people, where do you see yourself in 3 years or 5 years? Or, those types of questions just to get a sense. Even if they say, I see myself like flying to the moon in 5 years, how they answer the question will say so much about them. Are they going to focus on where they want to be with their family? Are they going to focus on where they want to be financially? If they come back to me with money, it's not going to be the right fit for me. Someone who's only focused on money, forget it. If they say I want to be financially secure and I want to have, some quality time with my family, fine. But if they say I want to be making X amount of dollars by such and such a date, probably not the right person for me because that's not what I'm driven by.
You know what, Cailey? I have a question for you then. Yeah. I really, really do. Why would somebody want to join your team?
So I think there's a few reasons. One, I think the brand has great recognition in our marketplace, and reputationally we're very strong. When you look at the alternatives around, so if you're going to be in central Toronto, there's really only 2 or 3 other brokerages that people would look at. We're not a brokerage model, we are a team model. So if someone wants the support of a very experienced agent, if they want the benefit of leads, I generate roughly 75% of the team's business. We have a marketing powerhouse. They just have to go out and sell. I believe our team does some of the best marketing in the industry in North America, not just in Toronto. And I think the support, like this family, the family that we've amassed here is we are a work family. We love each other. We have fun together. We have each other's backs. I just think I look at the real estate industry now and I would never want to be an individual agent in this market. I just wouldn't want to do it.
Mm-mm. Well, I
wouldn't have fun.
Possibly do everything. How can you be everything?
You can't do it. You can't do everything well. That's the problem. So when people interview me, I say, what you're doing is you're hiring a company. You're paying the same price as hiring one person, but you're hiring a company. And in that company, there are experienced sales reps. There's a marketing team. There's a concierge team. We have our sales assistants. We have our experience manager. You're just getting so much more value for your dollar.
It's not even like, for me, I don't even see it as a thing anymore.
Yeah.
Like anybody, for any client, like as a person hiring someone, to hire a single agent versus the services of my team or your team or any strong team, like you're shortchanging yourself in the biggest way. Yeah. And this is not a client-facing podcast. This is an industry-facing podcast.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
So to my brothers and sisters that I'm speaking to, I'm not saying it to be mean or to come across as an asshole, because I'm not.
We're saying you'll do better in a team.
You'll do. So it doesn't matter if you're a team member or the team lead. Like, you cannot be a team member of a team that you don't like. So you have to find something that you like. Yeah. But when you're joining forces without being exploited, because there's a whole lot of notion that teams exploit members, because there has been many things that have happened before.
Historically.
And none of those people are at the top. Anybody who takes advantage of a human being, whether it be the consumer, the team member, the receptionist, if you're a piece of garbage, you're not going to last.
Agreed. There's a thing called karma.
Call it karma, call it the universe, call it whatever you want to call it. You cannot last if you're not doing it for the right reasons. Like, we started this whole thing off talking about questioning ourselves if we're sick or not for wanting to always have
fly in my office.
No worries. To have something, like I can't go to bed knowing that you outworked me. I can't take it.
Yeah.
And I know you didn't
motivates
outwork.
you, Sibby, and what gets you up in the morning?
So that's a great question. So literally in the last week, I have had a massive conversation with my business partner, Jazzy.
Yeah.
Where we're sitting in a room. We've had a tremendous amount of problems the last 4 years. When our late partner passed away, this, that, and the other. Like, we just realized we were bickering. We were bickering at each other. Bickering.
Bickerbots.
Because there's no other way to put it.
Oh yeah.
We call each other. I was like, yeah, let's have a chat. Let's have a chat. We go. We start talking. And do you know what we came up with? You want to ask what gets me up in the morning? How about what keeps me up at night? How about my life's purpose that has to be rediscovered? We discovered, my partner and I, and it couldn't be more personal or more intimate, but it's also not a fucking secret. Like, I'm not ashamed of anything that I feel or anything that I do.
Yeah.
The truth of the matter is, we've always had an enemy. We always had issues. Before my partner passed away, we got ripped off by business partners.
Wow.
In a bad way, for $1 million.
Wow.
Back in the day when we were making a couple $100,000 a year selling real estate.
Yeah.
Fucking 5 years wiped down the toilet.
Jesus.
Then my partner passes away. Then do we quit? Do we rebuild? Within 3 years, we're not only in number 9 that Simon has led us, we're in number 1 in transactions, 2 in commissions.
Amazing.
And like, we just put it back together. But like, when we did all that, we had an enemy, we had a target, we had something to prove. I don't got nothing to prove.
No.
I don't look at you as my competition, or
you might as well just rest on your laurels.
No, but hear me out. Like literally, I'm with the only person in this system that's honestly ahead of me in commissions.
Yeah.
So like, I don't even look at that because I really don't give a shit. If I take number 1, blessings. I'm so happy. If I don't, blessings. I'm so happy because I don't give a shit. If this is who's going to be in number 1, great.
Yeah. And I think that you're right. I think that,
So going back, so I'll go back 1 second.
Now it pushes you. What pushes you?
But now I still haven't answered the question.
No, you don't have an enemy. So who is it?
So that's the problem. So now you're probably you're the only person other than Jazz when we came to the conclusion that we need to rediscover our purpose and our vision. Yeah. Literally. So personally, so he needs to rediscover his vision and purpose. I have to rediscover my vision and purpose. And we need to be on the same page, at least in the middle. We can have our own personal agendas, but if we are to be together, our vision in the middle has to be common.
Aligned, yeah.
And it has to be big, meaning that if we're shooting for X goal, call it 10 mil or 20 mil or whatever the case may be. We've always called it the road to 500, the road to 1 million, the road to 3 million, the road to 5 million. Now it's the road to 10 million, the road to 20 million. So is that what it is? I don't think so. I don't find
it has to be more than that. It won't work if it's just money.
And because money was the driver when we didn't have it.
Yeah. Agreed.
Again, you identify an enemy. You can say money as a driver, but that you can identify that as a target, as an enemy. Then it was bad partners. Then it was life circumstances. Then it was, I have a chip on my shoulder. Was it because of my partner that we made it? Or was it because of us? Then it was this.
You've answered that question.
But we're out of questions.
No, you're not.
We're not. But I'm just saying, like, we just came to that realization. And I'm not talking about a year ago or 2. I'm talking about last week.
So when you look back over, how many years have you been in real estate?
15.
And how long have you and Jazz been together?
12.
So 13. when you look back over the last 12 to 15 years, what's the biggest challenge you've ever faced except for losing your partner?
Nothing. I don't even know. It's just.
Is it a personality? Like, so the money piece you've identified, that's gone, it's behind you. Have you ever had I don't know. I think for me, what I'm trying to get at is, I think you get to a point with money where you know you're going to be okay. Yeah. You know you're going to get through. So it can't be money because that isn't a strong enough push.
No. So I'll tell you what my goal is. Let me tell you what my goal is, because I did figure it out.
Oh, you did. Good. I want to hear it.
So I did. So I was speaking to Chris Lightup.
Yeah.
Who is a
great guy.
I don't want to say the word partner because it can be misconstrued, but he is my partner. Like I am his
a partner in your success. Yeah.
A partner in my success. Perfect.
Yeah.
And we're talking. And we were talking about vision. And his vision is to be the Goldman Sachs of real estate. He wants to have institutional recognition, meaning that a signature agent is a world-class agent. It's an advisor. You need to apply to get here.
Yeah.
Instead of the brokerage model, get all the agents in to get fees in. Like, he's above it. Yeah. He's above it. He doesn't want to be that. He's not, and I'm not going to call out other brokerages. That's not the point. The point is he wants to be the Cadillac of the advisor service.
So again, he doesn't want other people to be driven by money. He wants people to want him because he's good at what he does.
Yes. So I can say that I perfectly align in a vision where I'm respected as an industry leader, as an advisor, as a person that has never had to lie to get anywhere, that continues to never have to lie to succeed, because I would never, and I have never. So for me, the integrity component is taking a massive component, a massive driver to what my goals are at this point. So if I can grow my team to 50, I'm at 45 agents, but whether I go to 50 or to 100 or to 200, where it's a brokerage, or whether it's a Royal LePage or not, because that's irrelevant. But like the goal of the team, if we are going to take it anywhere, I want it to be an elite force of commonly driven, because our team is not the traditional team model where even yours, where it's Kaylee Heaps and you're the driver of 75% of the business, but it still has a name, because whether you want it to be that way or not, it's what it is, because that's how it evolved.
Yeah.
But like for us, it's not the Simeon show. Even though Simeon or Jazz are the biggest face of it, our name isn't there. And we've had that luxury, not by design so much, as that's kind of how we found it. We liked it. So it's easier for us to be the firm than it is for you to go to a firm model now, even though you might be running like a firm.
Yeah. Well, and for succession planning, it's better. So when just to rewind for a second, I'm not putting words in your mouth, but when I listen to you, what I think your goal is to redefine real estate, the way it's done, what it looks like, how it feels, just to totally redefine real estate.
Especially investment-focused real estate, because that's who I truly am. Like, I hate calling myself a commercial broker, because in an investment, anything can be an investment. I'm an investment-focused broker. I'm a commercial broker by trade, as it is in the rules and definitions of what we do. But I agree.
You're making real estate investment accessible to the broader population.
Fuck, this was a little psychology session for the Simeon here, girls.
My minor is psychology, FYI.
Jesus.
My major is psychology.
Oh, there you go. Well, I think, listen to what I just said. I think that's really good. I think you should use that.
I wrote it down for him in case he didn't.
Perfect. You're redefining real estate and making investment in real estate accessible to the average person.
Mm-hmm.
You guys don't know how much I love you.
Yay.
There you go. I'm done now. See you.
But can I say that I'm surrounded by amazing people? Like let this be the realization. Like almost every time we go down a serious path, which happens more often than not, like I realize how blessed and how amazing it is to be surrounded by people who genuinely care about one another. And if we can do one thing today, and that's the only thing I also want to cover today is literally a little bit more female empowerment, and I'm with two powerhouses. So I do want to speak to you. You amongst yourselves need to figure out a playbook for our female audience, because I've been involved in Women in Real Estate Toronto Real Estate Board volunteer committee, And I've been speaking to Virginia from the Buzz Conference quite a bit about all those events. And between you two today, I'll finish the conversation that we were having, and thank you. And I'm blessed to have you beside me, both of you. I do want you guys to touch on that before we wrap up. So, meaning mortgage, real estate, I don't give a shit what business you're in. Women do, and I know it is a fact because half my team is women, actually more than half my team is women. They have a tremendous amount of chips on their shoulders from the behavior of how they've been treated in life. I hear bullshit commentary all the time from men. I do speak up 90% of the time. 10% that I don't, it's because I will literally get in a fist fight with someone, and I don't want to do that, because like if I were to say something to that kind of a person, it would only end up one way.
Yeah.
So literally, it's still in 2001. It has not changed as much as we think it has.
21. You just lost 20 years of your life.
You know what's the most on this topic? Like,
Go.
So my mother, she grew up in a very different time, as have all of our parents. And, you know, the way that women had to play, or seemed to have had to play back then, was to eat a lot of crow and not ruffle feathers, if I'm going to stay on this whole, you know, analogy of birds. But here's the thing, like, I don't do that. I have privilege from growing up in Moore Park and, you know, eating with and being on teams with people that are at the top echelon of society. There's nothing that they have that I also don't have, right? And so I have a sense of entitlement versus a chip on my shoulder. I feel like I sat at this table with you guys the whole time. I'm just as entitled to everything on it. And therefore, I do not take shit. I do not feel the need to ignore people when they are doing obvious transgressions against myself or another in my presence. And to any women, I would say, you know, you don't need to play by those old rules. You actually need to actively be contentious and make people uncomfortable if they're not acting right, and to take what's yours, because everything on that table you deserve to.
Laura, before we pass the mic to Kaylee, if somebody speaks to you in a fucked up way, what are you going to do?
I would explain the reasons why they're speaking in a fucked up way.
But you would call them out.
I would call them out. I don't ever take personal jabs. I won't say like, hey, you midget fuck, like, don't tell me that or whatever.
Yeah.
For instance. Yeah, I mean, I'll say what you said is, you know, an egregious thing to say for the following reasons, and lose my number.
Okay. Kaylee?
I'm the exact opposite, actually. I admire Laura's strength. I don't like confrontation.
Okay.
I can say with 100% honesty, I've never felt I've been at a disadvantage because I'm a female. Likely because I was raised with 3 brothers, and it literally has never crossed my mind.
So with that said, do you think it's because you have a thicker skin because you grew up with 3 brothers?
I think
that you've taken so much abuse from your 3 brothers that you don't even see it?
But I'm a very sensitive person. I'm naturally very shy, which is why I don't like confrontation. If someone is going to attack me verbally or otherwise, I'm not going to take it on. I'm not going to fight them. I'm not going to take it on. I might say something in passing, like, you know, I'm really sorry that that's your view of the world or whatever, but I'm not going to get into a confrontation with them. And that goes back to that person saying to me, this isn't about you, because I'm not onboarding all of their bullshit. I do think the other piece of it is I'm almost 6 feet tall. I've never been a tiny little size 2 human. And I think that those women, it's not just the fact that they're being treated differently because of their gender, but it's physically intimidating if you have a larger man, you know,
interesting,
coming at you. I remember when I was in university, I was always trying to borrow my brother's Bronco. He had the greatest Bronco. And I was like, Gus, come on, just let me drive it to university. I've got a night class. And usually he was my most protective brother. And usually he'd say, okay, come get it. You can take it to school tonight. And then one night he said to me, you know what, Cailey, fuck this. What guy's going to take you on? You're almost 6 feet tall. And I
You know
think
what?
that was a moment that has stood out for me in my life is he's right. Like, I don't know what it feels like to be a tiny little male who is viewed as an object. And I certainly, I don't think it's right that happens to anyone. And I will protect the woman around me. But if someone comes at me, I'm not going to fight back. If they come at someone I love, then I would fight back.
Isn't that so interesting?
Yeah.
But, hey, I'm not going to induce another psychology session, but it probably deserves one.
No,
Just saying, from a couple of psychology majors.
No, Cailey, it's been so whack. Like, I've been like grabbed and touched and leered at and like arm grabbed. Like, one time at a conference, I had my arm grabbed so many times that I woke up the next morning. I actually felt the need to flee, by the way. I was completely like, I was one of only a few women in a crowd of like 500 investment bankers downtown. And I just couldn't believe the utter disrespect. I like give someone my business card, they just dash it, not even look at it. I'm like, bro, it's like $1 a card. Like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
But like, there's only so many times I could brush it off or laugh it off or whatever. And like, it kind of slowly got chipped away at that evening before I was just like, I just got to get out of here. Like, I literally feel like it's worse than like a frat party right now, So
I will tell you this, that I personally do everything that I can to raise awareness to a lot of topics. This one being near and dear to my heart, because my mother was a powerhouse. I never saw too much injustice in my home. My dad, I mean, for an old school Greek guy, not as bad as most. Again, not to make excuses for the man, but I mean, like, the last, I would say, 20 years before my mom passed, he was pretty fucking chill. Like, before that, he was pretty typical Greek, where, public insults, I've seen a few. Disrespect, I've seen a bit. Would I want my daughter treated the same way? No. I'd probably crack some skulls if I saw that. So I know, I can identify it, I can smell it, I've seen it. I don't like it, so I do go out of my way, and I know a lot of men that go out of their way. I actually know way more men that go out of their way to make things right than they don't. But I still consistently see, just like I see racial slurs and jokes, I still see a lot of women jokes and a lot of banter. Like, we can call it banter and downplay it, but it's straight fucked up if you allow people to say shit within closed doors. That if that's what you actually believe, I hope to God you don't have a daughter. Yeah. Like, so people forget that. Yeah, that you have a mother, you came out of a female, you sick fuck. So it's that's kind of where I'm at with it. Like, I don't want to put any more weight than I already have. I just wanted to cover it because I have two powerhouse women with us tonight. So,
well, I think I will say this: if there are women listening who feel this is a major burden or obstacle for them, reach out. Like, I'm happy to talk about ways to get around it.
Yeah, and actually, I think we could go back to team too, right? Like, when I go out with Team Matrix, or like, being associated with the Matrix team, like, there's strength in numbers in a very big way. And if someone wants to go and talk to a member of the team about me, or I can be very political, and I'm maybe a bit eccentric, so people may come around and say, oh, Laura's unprofessional, or she thinks this or that, or what's her deal. I have people that will defend me when I'm not in the room to defend myself, straight up, and say, I don't know, why don't you ask her? Or yeah, she's fine. And
I like it. Yeah. My beautiful ladies, any last thoughts? I think we've covered a lot of ground. There's no doubt, Kaylee, that I would love to have you back anytime you're available, and I know your time is at a premium for you.
But I have one last question for Kaylee.
Sure.
Yeah.
Okay, so I know you kind of stumbled upon doing the central Toronto real estate, and having that as a niche market obviously is very beneficial for your volume. Do you still do deals outside of your zone, or do you refer people out for that?
So I will never work somewhere where I don't think I can provide the best advice or results. So if it's something that I'm confident we can do, so we still do downtown condos. We have listings this year that have been in the $400,000 range all the way up to, 10 plus million. So we'll work all price points, but I won't work outside my comfort level. Like if someone said, can you list a house in Oakville? No, I don't know Oakville. I'll refer you to someone.
Okay. And how big you've had 22 years.
Yeah, we can do
okay, reasonably, let's say someone's been in real estate for 3 years.
Yeah.
And they live in Durham. They live in Durham. They were born and raised in Ajax or something, right?
Yeah.
Reasonably, do you think this person could service a client in Mississauga well?
Not unless they're very well researched and invested a ton of time to educate themselves.
Right.
I mean, I have a huge number of clients who ask me to go and buy them recreational properties for multi-millions of dollars. I won't do it. I don't know how to do it well. I can tell them what I like and what I don't like, but I can't look them in the eye and say this is the right value or these are the clauses that you need to have, or it doesn't sit right with me. If someone's paying me for expert advice, I have to be the expert in what I'm doing.
Love it. It's true. It's true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Half the files I work every day are referrals for specifically multifamily real estate or commercial.
Yeah.
Like my book is much bigger from referral from agents because I associate myself with great agents, meaning you.
Yeah, all of it. Yeah.
And everyone like you. Nobody's going to touch, like, I'm not going to touch something. Like, so if somebody asked me to list their $6 million home in Cailey's neighborhood, more than likely, I literally have maybe, and it's not me, 2 agents that I would interview for my own team, not me.
Yeah.
Because I literally wouldn't take it. I would take it, but I would call you to consult and pay you for your expert advice.
Yeah, of course.
And so I wouldn't give up a Toronto listing for expertise, but I would reach out to a trusted colleague to say, hey, I have an opportunity. I don't want to give it up. Help me, please, because I want to nail it.
Yeah, and I think that's the right approach. That's how you.
Because I'm not a luxury realtor.
You got to do what did we say at the beginning of this? Play to your strengths.
Yes. And when I say luxury, I'm not talking 2 to 4 mil. I'm talking 6 plus. Yeah. Like 2 to 4 mil is yesterday's 1 mil.
The beauty of this is that you can invent yourself by simply being the best research.
My brother's company slogan is he started steam whistle brewing with a couple of partners.
That's amazing.
Their slogan is do one thing really, really well.
That's so true.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, who did you just say?
My youngest brother, Cam, started it with 2 of his buddies.
Steam whistle?
Yeah.
What's his name?
Cam Heaps. And his 2 partners are Greg Cromwell and Greg Taylor.
You want to laugh?
Sure.
I believe that Jazz interviewed your brother in the very beginning of the Jazz Takar podcast 3-4 years ago.
Look it up. Tell Jazz to look it up and send it to me. We
look. Oh my God.
The same. It's just that he's a boy and I'm a girl.
Cool.
Oh my God. Was there a Van Winkle brand?
Yeah, Von Bugle,
which is part of Steam Whistle.
Yeah, and it's on Evans Avenue is where they brew it.
I am telling you 1,000,000%. Cam Heaps was on the Jazz Takar show.
Oh my God.
As a leadership episode. This is fucking epic.
Yeah.
Our next podcast, I swear to God, is going to be me, Jazz, you, and your brother.
Sounds good.
Gotta be it. That's gotta be it.
He lives in Nicaragua now, so we'll have to.
We'll arrange.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
I love it.
Oh my God. Well, that's amazing. What a serendipitous coincidence. And obviously you come from such a great line of entrepreneurs and you make Toronto proud, even though you're not originally from it.
Well, no, I was born here. I was born here. I just left for a few years. I'm from Toronto through and through. Thank you guys for having me. It was so nice to get to know you, Laura. And as always, Simeon, great to see you. And I'll look forward to having a cocktail at your bar when this is all over.
I can't wait. I wish you all the best this year. Have a massive year. I hope we can get out of COVID and see each other soon. Lots of love, Laura Martin. As always, you are amazing. Kaylee, lots of love from Simeon.
To both of you as well. Take
Bye.
care. Be well.